The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
But we have a lot to talk about. We have an opportunity yesterday here on 710knus.com. We played a remarkable video. It's the piece that's coming from Joe Arpaio, and talking about what is to come. And he actually had that cut in there, and we'll see if, by the way, I see Casey's off the line right now. I hope we will speak with Mike Violin and come right on the show. But there was that piece in that. It was such a telling piece, and it's still up when you have Chris Matthews talking about Indonesian birth, and now you get to watch Chris Matthews call other people names. This guy has been so instrumental, and we have an opportunity to have him early. I know there's a huge story in Fort Hood to talk about, but I do want to place Mike in here with us this morning for the time that we're allowed. Mike Violin joins us. Hey, Michael, good morning. I know it's a busy morning for you as well. Thank you for coming back to Denver, and thank you for coming back to 710.
I'd like to thank you also, Peter.
Yeah. Tell folks who you are so we get, the sense of you, and if you would take it from there.
My name is Mike Volan. I'm the owner of Where's Obama's BirthCertificate.com. Since the 2008 election, we've had the website up and running, questioning Obama's identification. There are many questions right up until today about his identity, and certainly it looks like he's a fraud and an imposter. We've been running the website. We originally had a stamp made up. We stamped everything in sight, including currency, and that was to bypass people like Chris Matthews and the mainstream media because the message just wasn't getting out there, Peter. We kept the website up. We kept every court case. We posted it. I guess you could say we're a repository of information. We try to keep up with it, and then when the Sheriff Joe Arpaio from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office launched his investigation, we had the advantage of getting in contact with Mike Zullo, and we ran with it. We took and we made what's called the Sheriff's Kit. It's the investigation from the Sheriff's Department. It's available on my website. We call it a Sheriff's Kit. You can download it for free. We don't charge anything. I've mailed out, Peter, probably 1,000 kits. We gave almost every member of Congress a kit, whether it was me personally and my crew in Washington last November, or people that download them, including a listener, Peter, a listener in your audience named Tim, about a week ago went to Representative Gardner's office and gave a half-hour presentation. The kit comes with a DVD and a 57-page affidavit and a cover letter, and he said that their mouths dropped. They knew about something, maybe being born in Kenya or something, but he showed them the Sheriff Joe Arpaio news conference, the Selective Service registration forgery, and they're going to look into this. As a matter of fact, I understand that there was a private investigator hired by Gardner to look into this. So, and it just ran, Peter. People started grabbing kits. I've got so many supporters, and we just kept going. And recently, I just sent you the other day, I thank you for posting it, we made a video, and it's a primer, it's a precursor, it's for people who don't understand the past, what led up to this, where we are right now about the forgery and falsification, and we put it out there, and it's just gone viral, and I thank you for putting it out there.
We had over 4,000 looks at that yesterday. 4,000 looks, yeah. And we can play the beginning of it again. Casey's really running hard this morning, but we can play the front end of that again because it gets so much attention. You know, one of the great giveaways in this, Mike, is the second where you have, of all people, Mr. Hardball himself, Chris Matthews, and Chris Matthews talking about Barack Obama's Indonesian birth. And now you find the same Chris Matthews screaming racist and bigot at anyone who says what he said at one time. Are you fascinated by that?
Yes, I am, Peter. And I'd like to thank Pixel Patriot. He's the one that produced the video. We worked together for 5 weeks, day and night, phone call after phone call. I purposely put that in there because I don't think everybody's aware that at the beginning, Chris Matthews said, and we have the transcript, it's posted on the video, that Obama was born in Indonesia and had Muslim roots. Yeah. And he was all about that.
And was Stephanopoulos when he covered down for him that time, and he said, oh, you mean your Christian roots?
Absolutely. When Obama said Muslim roots,
I'm going to do this. I'm going to play that. Do we okay with that? I'm going to put you on hold. This is your own work. But for people who have never heard this, this is the opening of Michael's video. It's up, available to you on you can have it, 710knus.com.
President Obama's birth certificate as released by the White House in April of 2011 on the official White House website, as we suspect it is a fraudulent document.
I've been puzzled at the degree to which this thing just kept on going.
This continuing investigation has uncovered new information that deepens our concern that the birth certificate document is a forgery.
After an official law enforcement investigation spanning over 2 years, the crimes of the greatest fraud in the history of the world are about to be revealed.
These are facts that we are talking about. It's an official investigation.
In 2007, MSNBC's Chris Matthews reported Obama was born in Indonesia and has an Islamic background. Then, along with the rest of the media, Matthews began mocking those seeking the truth about Obama's life narrative as birthers, including Sheriff Arpaio and his investigation.
The cold case posse
We'll let it go at that. We'll stop it there. There it is, and when you see it, so overwhelming, and people can go to our website right now, 710knus.com, and see that. Here's Chris Matthews, who now just attacks anyone who said exactly what he said and apparently believed. Now, he's very much, does it strike you that he's very much like Bill O'Reilly?
I think he's in a little bit of a different class. I think he's more arrogant. Later on in the video, there's a clip where Chris Matthews says he's never done anything, referring to Obama, he's never done anything wrong in his life.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here, Peter?
Yeah.
On one hand, he's saying he was born in Indonesia. That should be the biggest story on the news 24/7. Now, on the other hand, he's praising him. Yeah. What do we have here? We have a cover-up.
Yeah, well, and again, it's now in some cases, the broken record. Our questions, I think, are valid. Our answers, we don't have known answers, but we have pretty strong beliefs. And so then where do we arrive at this point in time? And I do want you to talk about the birth certificate again, and I think you said 20 clear forgeries. And the reason we're doing this early is this is the opportunity we have to be with Mike early. So if you would, the clear-cut forgeries.
They're proven beyond any doubt. Let me back up and answer that question about Bill O'Reilly. Later on in the video, we have Mike Zullo stating that when this news first broke, Chris Matthews had called them up the day before and wanted information, and they weren't going to release any until the day of the news conference. And you hear Mike saying that they were supposed to be on the Hannity show that night, but they pulled the plug, and other execs, media producers, and newscasters came forward, and Mike's keeping the names confidential, and told Mike that they're afraid of their job. They've been threatened. Mike used the word threatened and intimidated, and that's why this hasn't been brought out to the mainstream, and that's why a lot of people are not aware of it. So there's your answer about O'Reilly. I guess he's just as scared, worried about his job.
Well, remember, O'Reilly said that he had seen the truth, and then it turned out, well, his staff saw the truth, and it turned out the staff said, well, they saw the birth certificate, not birth certificate, they saw the birth announcement in the newspapers, and we know that by the time that was printed, she was probably already in Washington State. So he has backed himself into a corner, and I know plenty of people who want to interview Bill O'Reilly and ask him exactly those questions, and they can't get close. Now, I know that's true because I've spoken with the people who have tried. Having said that, now you see O'Reilly emerging really as kind of a latter-day Walter Cronkite. You know, he gets the halftime interviews with Obama at the Super Bowl, and in spite of what anyone would tell you, you're a smart guy. You know that Obama knew every question in advance, or a version of every question in advance before he sat down. Fair enough?
Yes, it is. It's all about getting the audience for O'Reilly. He doesn't care about the country.
Sure.
He doesn't care that people are suffering every day. He doesn't care that this is the biggest fraud in the entire history of the
I don't know
United
what
States.
I don't know. I just know that he's not a good guy. I mean, I know too much about him. I know about his divorce. I know about the stuff that he did to some people here. I know what he's all about. He's not a nice man. Having said that, that's okay. The world is full of not nice men. But the next question is, would he lay down? And the next question is he even smart enough to know that? And I think the answer is no to all of those things. But we come to this. I mean, aren't you waiting for the break? Aren't you waiting for the moment for this thing? And what will it take for it to turn the corner and somebody's going to say, geez, Barack Obama ain't who he says he is, and it's being said by somebody other than some idiot radio show in Denver or yourself or someone else?
I'm waiting patiently. I'm getting apprehensive. It's my understanding that the information that's going to come out is universal shattering. I'm quoting Mike Zullo.
Yep.
It's going to be way over the top. I think the problem is getting it out to mainstream right now. Peter, we're not taking any chances. None of my supporters are. We've compiled a list of 10,000 contacts in the media, everything from local classified ads, papers, penny savers, newspapers, cable television, foreign press contacts. We're ready to get the word out there when this happens, and that's why also we're going to come up with a sheriff kit, too, for the public to go back to Congress, step inside and say enough is enough. Look at this information. If you don't act now, then our country's lost, Peter. I think this is going to be our last stand before Obama takes the country over.
Mike, when do you suspect Ohio is going to drop? When's he going to drop this?
I don't have an exact date.
don't
I've
either.
never pushed or asked Mike for that question. I know that with the investigation, every day information is being turned over. People are running away from him. They're turning around. They're ratting him out. They're trying. Actually, Peter, think about it. As the investigation goes on, people are worried. Think about the forger that forged the birth certificate. Going to be going away to jail for a long time. Look what he's done to this country. And with that, more and more information. I know they're being meticulous. They want to put the information together. They want to make sure it's proper in the right format. They're probably going over with their attorneys. They're probably making contacts in the media, too. They're probably waiting for the best time when they feel the best time to get the information out is, and they'll release it when it's ready. When I can't give you a date, I can only say soon.
You know, we have all these different conversations privately and publicly with people like yourself and others, people that you know as well. And everyone is sort of sitting on the hinge of what is going to happen in Texas. And, you know, Sheriff Joe's under a lot of heat in his own backyard. There's a lot of people taking Joe on, giving him a hot foot down there before he gets to move on what he claims to be is the career-ending part of Barack Obama's information. I just don't know. I sure hope, because we've chased this a lot of years. We've chased this a lot of years, Mike. Let me come back to the one thing that you and I spoke about before, and then we're going to break away. What are the odds of having a symposium, a seminar, do so online, do it by Skype, or do it all of us meeting someplace? And again, we're trying to get to Trump. I don't know if that's a fool's errand at this point or not, but getting Corsi and Cascio and yourself and Orley, and we can find all of these people and bring everybody in a room together and say, okay, and Jason Kistner, and and who is this guy? I think it'd be a wonderful moment. Can it happen?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. I know we talked about that in the last show.
Yeah.
You know, Peter, we're so close to the news coming out right now. I think the best thing for a symposium would be after. We could lay everything on the table, what we went, and this would help restructure our government. This would help show that the people stood up and went forward, went to their representatives with the information. Nothing was done. And I want to give your audience a little tip, Peter. We're going to hold everybody responsible that got a sheriff's kit and did not act on it, or said something like, well, we think he's an American. We believe he was born in Hawaii. That's not good enough. We gave you overwhelming criminal investigation evidence, and then you're going to give us an answer like that. And we are going to go back and hold them responsible.
You know, if that day were to come where the truth is found, it'll be an interesting day to watch, because it'll be from Brian Williams to the heads of networks to down to, the people that attacked us, which I really don't care about, but down to, mainstream media, individuals, left-wing, funny, progressive people, they all will eat an enormous piece of crow that day. And it may or may not be career-ending for some people, but it'll certainly be a day. And I firmly believe that day will come. I do. I'm more so. I was reading last night, more so last night after reading this Jason Kistner guy, and I'm thinking to myself, reading you, day's going to come, and it's going to come sooner than later. Do you believe that?
Yes, I do. Not only will the mainstream media be scrambling for their thoughts, their words, they'll be in a panic mode. There might even be some finger pointing. I can tell you this, Peter, it's not only Obama that's covering up for this. I mean, he's just a henchman and a puppet. It's going to shake the White House. People will be running out the door. They'll be so scared. They'll be looking over their back, and they'll be pointing fingers just to save their own butts.
You know what? And when this whole thing started, some almost 9 years ago for me, and I first saw some of those pieces of that puzzle that didn't add up, and boy, the things that were said to me back then and continue to be said to me, but there was just something about this story that said, no, this guy is not telling the truth. And we arrive at this point. I don't know if it, I don't think it comes tomorrow afternoon by any stretch of the imagination, but it's certainly well out. If not, we will know, and maybe we won't know during these final years of his term, but we will know. He knows, and he knows people know, and that must be very, very frightening to him. All right, sir.
On the other hand, I think he's saying, well, look, I can't be touched. Ha ha, you can't touch me.
No, I don't believe that. I believe he knows. I believe he knows that there are people like you and like others. Now, he can dismiss you, and he can dismiss you around his friends, but down deep in his heart, he knows. He knows he's not told the truth, and he knows that sometime, someplace, somewhere, something will show up, and it'll knock down the house of cards. I really firmly believe that. You're the man.
That's some feeling to walk around with every day, knowing that.
Yeah, that's right. We'll talk ASAP, Mikey. Thanks.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.